Hello, everybody. It is a somewhat spur of the moment Trusty's vintage live haul video. Not even a video, just live haul. I did a premiere video earlier this evening. That is something I'm now going to be doing going forward. Shout out to Kat from the Nurse Flipper for giving me a challenge. And that challenge is to post at least or do at least 2 videos a week. So I'm now getting in that rhythm. Threw a bonus one in last week on Tuesday, trying to just, trying to get some videos out. And what ended up happening is I've now stockpiled some videos over the next few weeks that what I realized this weekend is I did some sourcing. If I did this as another video, or if I did it as a shop with me, which really wasn't conducive to that, you wouldn't see it for weeks, if I just did the 2 a week. And so it's one of those, like, I could try and do a third one, but you know what? I just decided, let's just do a live haul. So this is a live haul video. So don't get used to these, and certainly don't get used to in one night, because this may kill me. I've been sitting here crazily trying to package up all my orders from the sale last week, forgetting that tomorrow's a holiday. So I got a whole extra day to get everything packed up. But regardless, it's at least cleaning things up a little bit. But I did have a really good weekend. Did have a really good sourcing weekend at one location. Should have done it as a shop with me. And that actually was my intention. I'd taken my camera and my tripod and all that stuff in with me. But the way the place was set up, it really wasn't conducive to doing that. Because what it was it's a company that is an estate sale, like they run estate sales. And what they've been doing for the last year or so, since I've discovered them, is they have a warehouse where the stuff that doesn't sell in an estate sale, they move it to the warehouse. And then once a month, they open up their warehouse and you can go in and get some decent deals on stuff that they originally had priced at the estate sale. It's only open once a month. It's always open on the 3rd weekend of the month, which was this weekend. So I decided to go, having absolutely no idea that they lost their lease. So I show up and the place does not look anything like it usually does. Things are boxed up. There's, stuff is crammed on shelving units. Most of the price tags have been taken off. There's, 50-50 chance whether it was priced anyway, but things weren't priced, and the discounts were all over the place. Depending if it was big, they were giving really good discounts. The smalls, not so much. It was fragile. They were giving really good discounts. So that helped. Because they didn't want to have to pack it. So they're not going out of business. They just lost their location for the warehouse, and they didn't have a lot of warning to do it. So yay me. So I ended up going in thinking, you know what, there's a couple pieces. I'm still trying to build my glass flower frog collection. There's certain things that I'm always looking for myself. Their prices aren't usually good enough for me to do a lot of sourcing for reselling, but sometimes. And this time, I hit pay dirt, both for myself and for reselling. So that's why tonight is a live haul. You're just going to see the stuff that I had. So it's not a sale. That's what's going across the channel. It's not a sale. However, I will be taking offers on anything. So if you see anything that you want, I have not listed any of this stuff yet. Some of it I have researched so I can have a more meaningful discussion. But if you want something, send an email. And I will say, I did in the premiere, I sold out of something I had 12 of during the half-an-hour premiere. So send out an email as quickly. Once you see it, send an email. Even if you end up sending me 5 emails, I will do them in order. The first person to claim their items, I will, we'll work something out. Because I'm not going to be giving you prices, but to a certain extent, I've done some research. And one of the things that I decided to kind of stack the deck a little bit is doing this live haul is I'm bringing in a mystery guest host. So she's going to be my, I just gave one of the hints. It's a she. She's going to be my Jiminy Cricket, talking on my shoulder about, what I've got, what her thoughts are on it. Maybe we might do some research of what things are worth. So you have to guess who is my mystery guest. I just said it is a woman. So, it's, and I will just do this relatively quickly. It is somebody in the chat. I wasn't going to give a pronoun so that you could guess, maybe it was Vintage Vinny. Hey, Vintage Vinny. Hey, Tia Fane. Thanks for joining things. Now I can say hi to the guys because I know that it's not any of the guys. So it's not Greg from Blue Feather Mercantile. Although, Greg, I did send you an email. So let me know if you got that or if you didn't get that. I had a lot of photographs in it, so it may not have gone through. Let's see. lot of women in the chat. So that maybe wasn't all that good, not all that big of a hint. She has been on my channel before. She was on my, it is not Angela, although she'd like it to be. She's been on my channel before. She was actually in the premiere video I just did a couple hours ago. So she was in the chat for that. And she has been on one of my deep dives. She actually did a deep dive on one of the items that I found at the sale. And the items that I found were typewriter ribbon tins. And Sue landed on it. Oh, so did Melody. It was Katie. So yeah, Katie is back. So let's everyone say hello to Katie.
Hi, guys.
So Katie is here. So hopefully this will be kind of fun. I don't want this to run super, super long. I am more of a night owl. Obviously, Katie is super night owl. I used to be that much of a night owl, but you know, I've got work in the morning. So it's one of those, we're going to try and keep this relatively short. And it wasn't a huge haul, but I will say one of the items I paid up on a couple of the items. Some of them are for me. But some of them just, you know, Google Lens is an amazing thing. I think it was a Net or somebody in the chat earlier was not familiar with Google Lens. So I will do a big shout out for Google Lens. I am not sponsored by Google, but it is a free app for your phone. I have an iPhone. I'm assuming it's also free for your Android. It used to be a separate app. Now it is part of your Google app. And when you go into the Google app, I'll actually pull it up. When you go into the Google app, you actually will see a little, let's see, get myself back at full screen here. You will see a little square with a dot in it. You can kind of see it next to the microphone. That is Google Lens. So a lot of people have this and they don't even know it. So if you have Google Lens, that I will definitely say came to my savior, and I picked up an item I would not have picked up because it was priced $155. There was a discount to it, but I never would have paid anything like that if I didn't know what it was. And it turned out it was worth $155, and I ended up paying for less than that. So just quick hello to a couple of the other people. Got Harry joining us. Hey, Harry. Judy's come back. Hey, Judy. Christy's joining us. Let's see. I think your boxes, I don't remember if yours are one of the ones I've already packed up, but you're ready to get packed. Yours are going to be packed up, but again, waiting till Tuesday. Lavish Mango, thanks so much for joining. Sandra Smith, I think you might be a new one, so thanks so much for joining. Diane McIntosh, thank you so much. I already said pulled up Sue earlier. Greg, definitely glad to have Greg here. Not seeing Greg as much in the chats lately, so I'm really happy when he has. He's a busy man, so when he's got time to join a chat, I really appreciate that. Belinda's joining us. Of course, Vinny is here. Thanks, Vinny. Hopefully you got at least part of your weekend off. I know you're a full-time worker too, so it's hard sometimes to squeeze all these things in. Jeanette, yours did. I just labeled yours right before the last video, so yours is definitely ready to go out the door. Anyway, so Diana's back from Little Vintage Me. If I missed you, I apologize. I just want to go ahead and get things started here in the chat. So one of the things that I am doing is there are 5. Get rid of one of the. There we go. So let's bring Katie back in. There we go. So what I've got is, and I've already shown these to Katie, so she gave me a little bit of background on them. So this is actually one that she already owns. So she knew a little bit more about the elk one. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you were telling me about the one that you already have?
So I have that elk tin, and I think it's really fabulous. And I did find on mine, there is a small mark on the rim of the tin when you open it. It's very tiny. Some of them wear away, but it says DG in very small letters, and that is decorated metal. Now, decorated metal made a lot of the round hockey puck, and I say hockey puck, that's not an official collector term. It's just the best way for me to describe those style tins versus the tall style ones. And those were made a lot of times by decorated metal. So they would make the tins, and then the graphics would be made and put on someplace else, and then the ribbon would be done separately. And a lot of those metal tins were made at factories that did cans and other type metal things, and then the leftover metal would be used to make those. So that elk tin is made by Decorated Metal, which is pretty neat when you can find that mark. And it just has some really awesome graphics on it, made by Miller too. And they did a lot of great typewriter ribbon, as well as ribbon for addressiographs, which is an address machine.
And so one of the things that I also found interesting, like a couple of them are Miller. I am based in North Aurora, Illinois, and Miller is based in Aurora, Illinois, so the next town south of me. So a couple of these are like kind of local. But you were telling me, Katie, that the Decorated Metal, you said, made the tin, but then the graphics got applied later?
Yes, sometimes where they would put the ribbon in, sometimes that would be done later at a separate factory. Sometimes same factory, but typically it was separated. They would make just thousands of those little round blanks and then send them places. And that's why all of the tins are different in the design, is because, you know, some of them were made specifically for, like, you know, Miller, Bryant, and Pierce, and then some had just a random in-house brand for, say, a hotel might have had their own typewriter ribbon, or a department store, and they would have had their own graphics. And really the graphics were added and became more elaborate to help the secretaries, because it kind of caught the eye of the secretaries, and they wanted you to reuse the tins. So once the ribbon was gone, people would put change or bobby pins or whatever inside. So it was just kind of, that's why the graphics have nothing really to do a lot of times with the idea that they're typewriter ribbon tins.
Now, one of the things that I thought was cool, and I didn't even notice when we were talking about these before, so that one, the elk one, does have the Miller logo there in the bars there on the side. This one you said you don't have, it also has the Miller. It's basically the same layout. So they probably used the same graphic artist to do the elk one that ended up doing the carnation one. Interestingly, put an elk on that one, but did not put a flower on this one. It's like,
yeah, you would think there's carnation.
So this one also is a Miller. And you can see this was slightly different. And you were also saying, because this one was black and red, you were saying that actually has some sort of indication on date, right?
Exactly. So the red came out much later than the black. So, and there's debates when you look online on exactly when the red ink came out and all of that, but it's separated from the black. So the black ones are earlier. When you see black on a typewriter ribbon tin, black ribbon, black ink is older. The round style tins are still going to be, they're not antique. I mean, well, some of them could be from the 30s, but they're going to be after 1895, because 1895 is when typewriter ribbon tins got standardized. The ribbons themselves were standardized to ½ an inch as opposed to 1 1/2 inches. So before 1895, tall tins about this size, 1 1/2 inch. After 1895, ½ inch, smaller tins.
And these are all ½ inch. And this is the only other hockey puck one. So this is the only other circular one. But this one, the graphics, I think, look a lot older than the others. So it's clean right, which you said you actually have, or no, clear right or clean right?
I think it's clean right.
Yeah, I can't. That's like a really funky script. I can't.
Hard font.
Kind of look like an R, but anyway, yeah, I think it's a clean, and then there's like another line running through the back of it. But it's got a cool sold around the world. This one is the black. It also has Underwood is the brand. And I don't know when Underwood stopped making the manual typewriters. So sometimes you can dictate things that way too. So there's one more hockey puck one. And then the other two, though, are square. So there's still the short. So they're still later than like the 1898. But did the square ones have a specific time?
No, I mean, I believe that they started coming out again after things got changed to the ½ inch ribbon size in 1895. And Underwood is the company that set the industry standard for ½ inch ribbon, because they were the ones that had a contract with Remington. And Remington said, oh, we're not going to have you make our ribbons anymore. And so to get back at them, they actually invented a brand new typewriter that had easier to change ribbon with smaller tins, and it really set the industry standard. So those that say Underwood, and specifically that one with the clean right, I would imagine that one, it could be as early as 1930 because of the graphics and the fact that it says Underwood on it. It just has a very deco graphic, in my opinion.
And then this one I'm also assuming is older. And we were talking about this, we didn't have a chance to research it. So I think the graphic on that also makes it a little bit older. But where I think the dating is more significant is it's still saying Brooklyn, New York. So it's before the 5 boroughs merged, or at least it's recently after that, where Brooklyn was still trying to maintain its own identity. But once they merged, it became New York City, New York. So this is still promoting Brooklyn. So I think this puts it into the teens or 20s based on that. I can't remember exactly when that happened, but
I think that one's older as well. And the square ones, I mean, you see quite a bit of them as well as the round ones. And again, you know, dating these, you look at the ribbon size, that's a big indicator. But also, like Patrick noticed, the Brooklyn mark on it. And the ribbon ink color matters. And then looking just at the graphics, sometimes that's all you can do. Now in the 60s, the early 60s is when they went away from the ribbon tins and they started mainly doing cardboard and plastic. So once you get into the 60s, you really don't see a lot of these metal tins. I'm sure it took a while to phase all that out, but you know that these have age when you find them.
And I will say, because there's been a couple of comments showing up in there, I kind of lied. I said nothing has been sold or nothing's been listed yet. Nothing's been listed, so I didn't lie on that one. But I will say you missed out, because as I was prepping with Katie to let her know what I had, Katie bought all the tins.
I'm sorry, folks.
I wasn't going to out her on that. I was going to hide the fact that they were sold, but we've got people specifically asking for the different ones. I appreciate your support and I appreciate you wanting them. But unfortunately, in this particular case, all 5 of them are going to a good home. They're going to Katie. And of course, she was my first call for anything. Anytime I find a typewriter ribbon tin, it particularly a special one, I make sure Katie's first time. One time, actually, I found something that I still think was one of my favorite finds, and I've sold it to Katie. It was, I can't remember the brand, but it was the cardboard box that the tall tins were sold in. And so it was in great condition, and it would have held like a dozen of the tins, which didn't have any of the tins. But I thought that box was really cool and something that I had not seen Katie show in her haul videos or in her bunker tour videos. So she took that in. The elk one is going to Katie because she's then going to offer that in an upcoming live sale where she and I are partnering. So yes, yeah. She did take the elk one as well. Sometimes it's just one of those cases. If you're a reseller, I picked it up in the morning, called Katie, said, look what I got. And she took them. So within 24 hours, I could have made more money probably selling them here individually. I wanted to make Katie happy, and it was a quick flip for me. So I already had something going out to Katie, so I'm just including it in the box. So anyway, so those were the tins. So I thought those were kind of cool. Hey, Nancy, Overstuffed House. A couple of people have joined in. So next I've got, I'm trying to see, what do I dig? All right, next we'll go into a combination of what I bought for myself and what I bought to resell. So a friend of mine, which you guys all know, Rebecca from Kitschy and Bitchy, she did the deep dive with me on the swizzle sticks. When I visited her in Pennsylvania, she lives outside Pittsburgh. When I visited her, she has an amazing collection that was developed through her parents who were antique dealers. And she got me interested in copper luster. So I've got these 2 pieces of copper luster. This one is relatively large. So she says it's much more common to find sugar bowls. I think this is too large to be a sugar bowl. So it's really more of a small compote, but it's got this beautiful royal blue, cobalt blue design on the side. So it looks great. It's 19th century. It looks great with my 19th century stoneware. It doesn't have the made in Japan stamp. It doesn't have any of the England stamp. So it goes into the 19th century. That piece, and then also the pitcher. So it's either, creamer and sugar for a giant, or just, a small pitcher and a large, small compote. So these 2 I picked up. These were priced at, I think they were $45 each. And I think I ended up paying $15 each. So it ended up being, I was pretty happy with that. And these are staying in my own collection. But I also picked up, she found this, it was in a box. Like I said, some of the stuff was already packed. And she's like, wait, if you like copper luster, you're going to like this. And so I picked up this one. And I'm going to be perfectly honest. This one I did not think was as old, because I don't know if you can tell, it's kind of like it's almost like a stucco. It's like a stone finish on the outside of it. So it's much, much smaller than the other ones. So you can see it's much smaller than the other one. It's got that, like, I felt it was like almost like a mid-century modern. It's not marked on the bottom, so it doesn't have a made in Japan, which a couple of them do. It doesn't have made in England, doesn't have any stamps. And it has a pink interior.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And so I'm thinking, oh, well, this is probably more modern, but I got a decent price on it. And then I went to my friend, we went to Rebecca, and I just said, hey, you know, what do you think of these things that I found? And she's like, oh, well, that one with the pink, that's one of the oldest ones in the lot. I'm like, what?
Wow.
She said, this is from the 1840s.
Holy moly.
So even that pink, that little pink interior with still the copper luster in the spout, it's just, and you can even tell on the inside, it doesn't even go all the way down. So she's like, that actually dates from the early part of the 19th century. So I'm debating whether this one's one I keep or not. I don't think it looks as nice on with the rest of my collection, because that pink kind of bothers me. So this one probably is going to get listed. So if anyone's interested in this one, you can see I haven't looked it up price wise and what they go for, but you do some digging. I'm always fair on pricing. So if you give me a decent offer on it, I'm sure we can work something out. And it's very, very small, so it would be very, very easy ship. It definitely would ship first class. There's almost no weight to this, and it's in great condition. I left a couple pieces behind because the spout was chipped, or there were big chunks off the base. Now, is this one of those? Do you have copper luster, Katie?
I've actually been on the hunt for copper luster, and Tim had several at his sale, and I kept trying to get it, and I wasn't able to. But I'm really interested in.
Is Louis attacking?
Attacking.
Louis attacks.
My microphone just took a thump on the floor, and everybody's like, my ears.
I agree, Groovy Vintage. The pink bothers me too. It's like if I set it up high enough, you wouldn't even see it, but it's like, I'll know it's there.
Yeah. So. I'm not a big fan on pink personally, so I love the blue. But yes, I would love to find a copper luster. There's a piece listed at our local antique mall for $50, and it's a creamer about that size, but it has this gorgeous red on it, and it's really stunning.
I actually just bought another piece that matches this one. It's either a small plate or an underplate. It's maybe was a toast plate or a salad plate. It didn't have a groove or anything for to be a saucer. So I'll be curious, but it looked like it matched this. It also wasn't marked, and I just paid, I think, $28 for that. And then, so it's one of those cases that, like even Rebecca said, it's not necessarily that they're super, super valuable. What's difficult is finding them without any damage. So as you all know, I tend to not want to carry things with damage, but even for resale, I think something like this, when you start getting that age, it's going to have damage. I've got damage and I'm only 50. So, all right. So I can't stay away from pottery. I'm always going to pottery. This is one I didn't know. I don't know why Nancy's saying Katie is flagged. So I don't know what that means.
Louis. I don't know.
Okay. So this is a piece that was a company I've never heard of, and but it's very clearly marked. That's why I love porcelain and pottery. It usually makes it very easy. So it's Nicholas Mossy Pottery in Ireland. And so it's what I don't know what it is. I found one other listing of this. They called it the Old Rose pattern. It's decorated on the inside of the rim and at the bottom and the outside. They called it a ramekin. And
I would call it that.
Yeah. So, but then when I did searching, trying to find other quote unquote ramekins, I couldn't find any. So from this company. So I don't know if Ireland calls them something else. The only time I found the one pattern happened to be this piece. This detail seems to be pretty common. That was on almost all of their pieces. That seemed pretty uniform. And then they had one that didn't have this base on it that was being called a salt. So I don't know if that makes could this be a master salt? So I don't know if anybody's got ideas on this. because I'm not familiar with it. And I found some other listings and other patterns, but I couldn't find this shape. And, you know, it's like I said, it would be too big for an individual salt, but it could be a master salt. But that's assuming the little ones that they had listed as individual salts were salts. So, or
yeah, it could be a master salt.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. Usually I don't think master salts usually have designs at the bottom because you'll scrape it off. But, you know, that could be an assumption. And I also don't know the age. So, yeah, so Diana's also saying she thinks it's a master salt. This may not be super, super old because I found some boutique shops that were still, I think they're still selling it or still making it. But I think this pattern is older. But it's that, like, the bottom is just completely bisque. The side does have a little bit of a glaze to it, so there's a little bit of a gloss, but that bottom ring is not. So like they glazed the first two, but then left that one so you didn't have anything sticking it to the kiln. But I thought that was just like a fun pickup. That'll definitely get listed, most likely on Etsy, just as an Irish pottery, you know, piece. Try and do some right keywords. But if anybody's interested in that, you know, just again, drop me an email. Email address is on the screen.
And thinking about it, I don't know that could go in the oven, so it may not be a ramekin.
Oh, good point. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is fully glazed on the inside, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you know if something's food safe like that. Good point.
Or if it would crack. So maybe
exactly.
You could invent it and make it whatever you want.
All right, the next one I thought was a super, super fun find. See if I can actually get you to see it. It is like the tiniest slide rule I have ever seen.
Oh, that is awesome.
So you can see at the bottom, it says made in the USA, but that's about it. Like I can't even see numbers on this. I mean, I was in the shop going, yeah, what is this? So it has the little slide piece that you've got the, you can do the math. Now I'm of the generation just behind George. George said he was the last generation that learned the slide rule in school. So I don't know, some of you might know the slide rule, but I just turned 50, and like by the time I hit high school, we already had computers. So there was no need to teach us. Now, granted, they were like Commodore 64s, but there was no need to use the slide rule. So I never used one, so I do not know. I will say there's a building, I'm assuming they still make them, maybe they don't. There's a building that I go by sometimes when I go thrifting in this one place. I think it's in, I don't think it's Roselle, Glendale Heights, maybe. I can't remember where it is, but the building makes slide rules, and the front of their building with all the windows looks like the steps of a slide rule thing. Like they made their building look like a slide rule. Greg had a Commodore 64. See, I was from the other side of the tracks. I only had a Commodore VIC-20. we couldn't even afford the 64. We had the VIC-20. So this was just like a fun little thing. This I'll probably sell in one of my live sales unless somebody picks it up here, because it's just a fun little piece. I didn't pay all that much for it. I can't imagine anyone would use it. It's just a fun conversation piece because it's literally like 3 inches long. I don't know if I still have my tape measure over here. I don't think I do. But you can see it's tiny, but it's fun. I thought it was kind of fun.
Those are neat. My grandfather, he was an electrical engineer for IBM, and then later worked on his dad's radio station. And he had one of those, but he had just exactly like that, the miniature one, and he carried it in his pocket. So he always had shirt pockets, and he had a miniature ruler, and then another one that would measure down to 1/16 of an inch and 30 seconds of an inch, and then the little slide rule, his glasses, and all of his pens. So it never went anywhere without that. I have it now in my shop.
Take a drink, Vinny. You get between that and in answer to Greg's comment about the Atari, which of course I had the Atari. I had Pong.
Oh, Pong.
Vinny saying Atari what? Yeah, it's. Take a drink, Vinny. All right. So this is, if you don't, first of all, if you don't follow Katie, let me bring her back to big screen. If you don't follow Katie, that's her channel there, Vintage and Vinyl. You should follow Katie. She did a chat on Friday night, was it? And we ended up playing Trivial Pursuit live on her channel. And one of the categories that most people didn't want, but there were a couple of us. I don't know if Auntie Christie is here. Auntie K is here. Auntie Kay and I and the niche lady, we kept battling each other to be the first person to get questions right. We were the only ones that wanted science and geography. So
Yeah, nobody else wanted those.
yeah, everyone else wanted entertainment or arts and literature. Okay, so this is in honor of the geography. And we're going to see how many people know what this is. I'm going to try and do it in a way that you don't get the weird glare. But it is like it's a significant building of a significant town with a very distinctive shape. I just lost the chat. Where'd it go? So I will start with the hints. The building is in Chicago.
I think I
It's
know.
not the Sears Tower. The Sears Tower will always be black, and it's the same shape as the Sears Tower, but the Sears Tower would have like 5 of these all stacked amongst each other, getting slightly taller. It does look like the Twin Tower, but it is not. This is designed by itself. So this was a one, and you can tell that by the little grounds on the bottom. This was a solely built building. Yeah, Book Bewitched, she was one of the entertainment voters. So it is Chicago. It's also, I pulled this up after the slide rule because it's also a science-based building or science-based company. And I'm a little disappointed that Dawn is not jumping on this one, but she's been out of Chicago for a long time. This is the Aon Tower, AON. The Aon.
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed that.
And it's significant is it used to be the third largest or third tallest building in Chicago. So it is a very distinct part of the skyline. And it's a square building. I mean, it's granite all the way down all those little slits. When the hotel of He Who Must Not Be Named was built, it knocked this out of the top 3. But it's still a significant building. I have a science degree, so I always kind of liked this building. So yeah, that's the Aon building. It's not going to be worth a lot of money. It might be something I put in the booth because I think it might have some more local interest, or it'll go on Etsy as a Chicago souvenir. It's just interesting. It doesn't say anything, but most of the souvenir plates are round. So I just thought this one was kind of cool. You know, that being oval, I just kind of thought that was cool. Smoke with the smoked glass.
I think the local interest will be great, and I love smoky glass. You don't see smoky glass too often.
All right, so this one I also thought of Katie when I found it because I don't come across copper all that often. But the last time I had a copper tray from the Copper Guild, Katie was the one that picked it up. Yep. So this one is not a marked piece. And what I'm curious for some of you that are out there is if you're kind of familiar with this, you can see it's been pressed and hammered, to get the design with the owl, a little bit of the hammering in the background of the owl. But it has a white metal back. So the one that I sold Katie the last time was copper all the way around. It was a solid copper piece. So is this like a piece of aluminum with like a really, really thin sheet of copper over it? Because you can tell the hammering actually went through the aluminum too. And you can see there is like a rim, but I didn't know that's how these things were made. So it's like, is that common? Is it like you would take a thin sheet and then just hammer through the thing? Does that make it cheaper? Like, was it cheaper to make, I'm assuming? Have you seen that, Katie?
I have with Jello molds. Jello molds have that design sometimes. And when I was learning specifically about Jello molds, and I know that this is not a Jello mold, but it's the same principle, is that the copper is then wrapped. They wrap it, they mold it. And then the edge like that, they take a thin wire and they wrap it around that wire to make that little fold. And then the back of the Jello molds that I have that rolled over edge are, like you said, they're different metal on the other side. And that's probably 10 is my guess.
10, okay.
The Jello molds I have like that are 10. Now, the better Jello molds don't have the roll. So they're just totally molded out of pure copper with the tin on the inside, and they have that really sharp edge. So I'm assuming that that's how that was probably made, similar to the molds.
Yeah, I just thought this was pretty cool. It's copper, it's owls, like this was the fall. This was like people be all over this. But I just thought this was really cool. And because of that, now that you say that, I would agree that it probably is tin. It's not very heavy, so that at least shipping this won't be super expensive. So I just thought that was kind of a cool piece. And you can kind of see where those little fins, how they did the pressed to do the pressing in that. So anyway, I thought that was kind of cool.
It's
So
very
that,
cool.
yeah. So that was a Katie piece.
And a lot of owls collectors in our group too.
But it's not Halloween, it's Easter. So I actually found an egg. So probably a lot of people will recognize this style. I was thrown by the color. It's a bisque finish, and it is decorated all the way on all sides. Just the eagles on one side with the eaglets in the nest. And so it's got the blues and it's got the whites that I'm used to, but it's got all those extra colors, and it's a Yadro piece.
Wow.
So this is a Yadro piece. It is dated. It's from 1997. So I don't know at what point Yadro started doing like browns and things like that. And also it is bisque, which now I think about it, Yadro was a gloss glaze, wasn't it?
I don't know. I've heard of their company, and I've seen several pieces, but I don't know if they're solely glazed.
Yeah, so Melody's saying very shiny. So yeah, Yadro normally is very shiny. So this one is a bisque finish, which I actually prefer in general. I prefer bisque to the high gloss anyway. And it's easier to photograph when it's not high gloss. But
yeah, true.
I saw it and I really liked it, but I was surprised when I flipped it over and saw it was Yadro. So I think this is definitely something I'll put onto Etsy, because the key with Etsy, for those of you who don't, and eBay to a certain extent, but eBay allows you to do, like, if you do a 200 word listing, it'll use the entire 200 words to help you do your like search engine and find your keywords and things like that. Etsy, you have to put in your individual keywords. I like that better. It's a much smaller platform, but you have to come up with the keywords. So if you don't have keywords, it's hard to ever get found. And Yadro is a very primary keyword. So yeah, like Vinny's saying, I think Auntie Christie said, yeah, a lot of people do not like bisque. And for whatever reason, I've always done it. Like I said, I grew up in a house where we did ceramics in the basement. I always liked the bisqueware before it went and got the gaudy glazes of the 70s. I always liked the bisque, and maybe that's what I carry forward. But anyway, so I've got this piece of Yadro. Have you ever collected Yadro, Katie?
I have not, but my mom does pottery, and she's has a kiln in the garage and fires all of her own pieces. And she does do a lot of that bisque. She leaves some of that showing through the glaze, and I really, really like that. Certain bisque does have that kind of like chalkboardy feel that I don't care for, but I like the more textured bisque. I think it's really lovely.
So the next piece, I don't know if Greg is still here from Blue Feather Mercantile. I always have to keep it straight from Blue Flamingo. If Greg is still here, but this is for you, Greg. So this is one of the largest lacquer boxes I've ever picked up. It is Russian. And the reason I know it's Russian, one, you can tell just by the painting. Now this one, unlike most lacquer boxes, this one is not signed. So I think this is a little bit later than some of the others. Hey, Greg, he's still here. So this is for you, Greg. Go ahead, translate. So the very first line is manufactured. The last four digits are USSR. That's the USSR. So this is manufactured in the USSR. So we've got this is before 1989. So we know it has at least some age to it. It also says the third line says fabrica, so fabricated. And then the one that has the asterisk on either side, that literally says souvenir. So this was designed it was fabricated to be a souvenir. What I didn't know, Greg, was what the second line said. Because to me, that says Kagepeo, and I have no idea what the hell that is. So I don't know if I'm holding it clear enough for Greg to be able to translate that. But the fact that this label is still on the back, I thought was super, super cool. I've carried lacquer boxes before. This is the largest one I've ever had. It's not as detailed as some of the others, so it's not going to have the highest price point. But I liked that one. But I also picked up this one, and this one is signed, but I haven't had a chance to find the signature. It is, I can get it right. Hey, Louie.
And Louis saying hello to all of you guys.
I thought this one had a signature on it. I thought it said like it was like FEV or FED. So I think this is Veteraskina, but I can't find it with the glare right now. So I do have two different styles. I have a Veteraskina in my booth right now. Polyak is the most valuable one. This one is significantly smaller. It's much more the size of what I'm used to carrying. It's actually much deeper than what I'm used to carrying. And it's also a different quality of lacquer. It feels different. So I think this one is newer. I do not think this is the Soviet era. I think it's still a souvenir piece. I think it's definitely Eastern Europe or Russia. But I think it's a much newer because it's the material is much thinner. It's just different. So these will definitely both be listed on my Etsy shop unless anybody is so interested. I could have sworn, I did. I had a Polyak piece. So there was 3 pieces that I picked up. The last one is a pin.
Oh, wow.
So you've got a brooch. So it's still made out of lacquer. See if I can do it so you don't get the glare. So you've got the dude riding the horse. I think that makes him, who's the one that killed the dragon?
Oh,
King,
God.
I don't remember the legend, but anyway, I think he's the one that killed the dragon. Anyway, there's no dragon on the bottom, but what is on the bottom is, come on.
I see a signature.
Yeah, there is a signature on there. It's not coming across there, but this one, when I read it in the store, I believe that one does say Pollock.
How neat. So growing up, we had a group of folks from our local church, and we had an international ministry, and they were from Russia, and they came over here, and they would come and have Bible study at our house. My mom volunteered for them to come once a month, and we actually have some Russian boxes that they gave us. My mom still has it at the house, and they are just beautiful. And they would bring the best food too.
What I also think cool about these is they were made with a safety pin. So again, I don't think this one's like super, super old, but they molded the safety pin into the lacquer. I have another pin that's done like that. That pin was signed on the back. This one is not. So I got 3 pieces of lacquer, Russian/Soviet. So I was pretty happy because I don't run across those very often. What's nice about it is if you do educate yourself on them, it is like a fun little subset. And it helps, I don't know if Greg does a lot with them. It helps if you know the Cyrillic alphabet because some of the names are more valuable than others. And Polyak is one of the better names. I remember that when I visited there in the 80s, that we were told that Polyak was one of the better ones. And the best way to tell you if you ever see a lacquer box or if you have one and you don't know who it's made, when you look at the signature, if the first letter looks like the letter for pi, the little 2 sticks with the little cap over it, that's a P in Cyrillic. That is the P for Pollock. And there's no other region that signs their boxes that starts with a P. So if you ever see the P, the little pi symbol, you have a Pollock box, most likely. So those are the more valuable ones. It's also better to have if Pollock is really, really, really tiny, like on that pin where it's almost impossible to read, because once upon a time, Pollock was that's where they made them. Like that wasn't special. As they became more popular and then as they became more westernized and they started recognizing where they could make money, Pollock became like a freaking billboard and it was like written in like 1-inch tall script at the bottom because they knew that's what people were looking for. So the quality dropped, the signature got really big. So, it's just one of those little things that it's just one of those fun areas. I don't come across it a lot, but when I do, I always like to educate. All right. Keep eye on time a little bit. So this one, actually, I wanted to have some some hive mind stuff because this one I tried to research and I couldn't find anything. So we're in Hungary. Hungary does some great porcelain. I think this is an absolutely beautiful piece.
Wow. Yeah, I love that.
And I'm hoping I did not make a mistake. This ended up being one of those pieces that when she rang it up for a much different discount than I thought it was. So I ended up paying twice as much for this than I thought I was paying. But I still thought it was really pretty. And I recognized the name on the bottom. and I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but it's Zolny Pex. So it's ZSOLNAY, and the second line is PECS. That is Hungary. So we got a Bohemian porcelain vase. Zolny Pex is all over the place. I can't find this pattern. So this is one of those cases that if anybody's got any, Eastern European porcelain books or anything like that, take a note on what this pattern is. So it's got kind of in the background, it's got like, I don't know what those are. It's almost like they're weird little corn stalks or something. The little chevron with the little triangle coming out of it. Then you've got the badminton cocks coming off of the side. I'm sure that's something else. To me, that is a chrysanthemum. But when I did Google Lens, they called it a dahlia. And I don't know how to tell the difference between a dahlia and a chrysanthemum. So I don't know.
I don't either.
So I don't know if for the flower lovers out there, I think Melodies does flowers. If you know what kind of flower that is, that might help us find it. And then there's this cool little 3-armed feather thing that's got, and it's like all of this stuff is accented in gold. I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely pristine. And I'm sure it's worth every penny that I paid for it. I just like to be able to make money when I sell it. So Diana asking me about Cocloma. I have had Cocloma. I usually sell it in my live sales because it kind of floods the market. And so it gets lost on eBay and Etsy and doesn't really bring a lot of money. So I have had some, but I don't think I've got any right now. I've had like 3 or 4 pieces and I sold in my Thursday night live sales. So, but thank you for asking. So if anybody knows, hold closer, please. Okay. So I don't know which part. Do you want to see the signature? Hold the signature a little bit closer, upside down.
I love the colors on that. That blue and the orange and the gold is just really something special, I think.
So that's the sign. That's the signature. That's actually, like I said, the company is fairly findable. They've done a lot. I just can't find this pattern. So overall, I don't even know which is the front. So like if you look at it, this to me is kind of a cool looking front. You've got those little bees or whatever they are all over, and then kind of that pinwheel is focused there. But then you just turn it a little bit, and then you've got the dahlia / chrysanthemum there. Now, I would say chrysanthemum because usually these are Asian pieces, but Hungary obviously is not in Asia. So maybe it is a dahlia. I have no idea what Hungary's national flower is. And then, like I said, you've also got those little things, which to me look like badminton cocks. I'm sure that's not what they are, but
they look like that.
But you're never going to see again. Like every time you look at it now, you're like, oh yeah, it's from badminton. It's a birdie, shuttlecock. So anyway, so that is the piece that I would love to find out more information on that. I just think it's beautiful, and I will list it as Solding Pack, regardless. But I'd like to be able to come up with the pattern name, and I cannot find any piece, vase or anything that has that same pattern. It's this. Is it the side view of the flower? Oh, so you think that's like when that gets turned, the blue is in the background and the flowers in the front. Oh, okay. I would never that might be the flower bud or something.
Yeah, because see the blue leaves are the
seed. I could see that. Like maybe that's the bud and the other one's full blown. Like I don't know what that would be.
Those kind of look, if you just glanced at them quickly, I thought they were holly leaves, but they're not pointed enough in the right way to be holly.
Okay, and that's where the blue is coming in. I love that blue color.
Yeah, that
blue.
Like
the blue, the terracotta, like this color combination, I think is just amazing. So somebody just said, Nancy said, so dahlias are Eastern Europe. So maybe those are dahlias. Like I said, that's what Google Lens came. When I focused just on that, it gave me like every seed catalog known to man if I wanted to grow my own dahlias. I'm like, okay, need a better camera. So anyway, that was a fun piece. I want to keep on time. I'm going to jump to the one that Google Lens totally helped me out for. Let's see if I can grab this without dropping it. This will be the most expensive item I've ever listed on Etsy. Haven't listed it yet because I just got this, but I will. And this is the piece that was tagged at the store for $155. So what this is, and I'm not sure you're gonna be able to see it. Let me see if I can get my flashlight to show through it. Yeah, you can't really tell. It's a really, really dark purple. It's absolutely a gorgeous purple color. The glass itself is purple. It then has this gold frieze on it. And it's called, I can't remember if it's called a Carlsbad or it's something German, Carl something frieze. That frieze exists on a number of different pieces, most of them in the same purple glass, but they also had one in like an amber and I think one in a green. When I did Google Lens on this, what it turned out to be is this is Mosier glass. Mosier glass with the Google Lens is the one that told me what that frieze is called. So like I said, I wrote it down. I just don't have it in front of me. Like I said, I think it was Carlsbad. It's Carl's something. Carlsruhe, Carlsbad, Carl something. This Greek design frieze. I think a very nouveau look. There were some disagreements on when the Mosier piece was, but this is definitely an antique. It's over 100 years old. Most people said it was late 19th century. So this is, I never know when Vinny's trying to be serious or funny. So this is listed on Etsy and on eBay right now. There are none of these listed. There's one of these listed in eBay UK for I think $475. And all the ones that are listed on eBay and Etsy start around $150 and go up to about $500 for smaller pieces than this. So this is absolutely gorgeous. I do not believe it glows. I was using a regular flashlight, just trying to show the purple because it is translucent. If you can see it, unfortunately, I've got the light coming at me, so I can see the light coming through, and it's just absolutely, it's just a beautiful, deep, deep purple. So it's definitely amethyst glass. It looks at a glance, it definitely looks black. So I think this is one of those Carlsbad frieze. Thank you. That's what I thought it was. So it's the Carlsbad frieze. Thank you, Melody. It looks black, but this is one of those, when you hold it to a light, you definitely see the purple. So that whole idea of black amethyst, I've had pieces that people say are black amethyst, and I'm holding it to every piece of light I can find, and it's still black. And this one, okay, there's purple. And then the gold is just applied to the outside. So this is one of those pieces I'm probably going to be listing on Etsy in the $350 to $450 range, based on some of the sold comps and trying to figure out, because this shape does not seem to be particularly common, but the frieze is. And again, Etsy's all about the search terms. And so since this is a very distinctive search term, Mosier glass, Carlsbad frieze, black amethyst, gold decoration, like all of that stuff will make this a beautiful, making it easy find. And it is, it's just a beautiful, beautiful piece. And I will probably not be storing that. I'll be putting that on display. Probably not, it won't stay up here, but I will be putting that on display somewhere in my home until it sells. So, because I enjoyed that piece a lot.
Well, Mosier glass is very high quality glass, and it started in 1857. And it's neat because they sold to a lot of the kings and queens in England. So there's a whole history of the royals using Mosier glass. And it started by Ludwig, which is a funny name, Ludwig Mosier, back in 1857.
All right, before I run out of time, I have some other cool pieces. This is an Austrian pottery or Austrian porcelain CT Altwasser. I just love that's a secessionist piece. So it's like around 1910. I just love that design. I will definitely be listing that though, because it is lusterware with the platinum silver accents. That doesn't really go with my decor. So as much as I love secessionist, this is a little bit glitzy for me. So I'll be listing that. These, I found these later. Google Lens to the rescue. These are actually art of the Satsuma, I think it was called, from Franklin Mint. So they're no longer labeled, but I found the label on these. So these sell for about $25. It's just one of those, it was either Franklin Mint or Danbury Mint. I wrote it down. I have two of these. I just thought they were gorgeous. And they've got, like, you can hang them. So they're kind of designed to be hanging jugs. You see the place to hang them. and they're just these little small pieces, and they're identical. So, but like I said, they were the Franklin Mint type pieces. So I really liked those. Oh, and I also jumped on this one because, again, I like porcelain. Anytime I see Coalport, I jump on porcelain. And so this, with Easter coming, this is the Coalport strawberry egg. Says that right on the back, in case there's any question. Says Coalport strawberry. But it is an egg, and just the way it's designed, you've got the bugs decorating the piece as well. So you've got the ladybugs plus a mosquito. You got the strawberries, but then you've also got a little spider, crawling up the side. Coalport is just super, super high quality English porcelain. So you can never go wrong when you're picking up. Sorry, Sheila, didn't mean to scare you putting the glass behind me. I have a lot of experience working like that. So, but anyway, so Coalport is just, again, it's not like uber valuable, but it's high end. So if you ever have a chance to pick up something at a reasonable price, you're probably going to make some money on it if it's in good condition. And this is a 2-piece egg. There's no chips, there's no cracks, and Easter's coming. So it's a perfect time. This will be going on to Etsy. Definitely. I don't remember what they sell for, but Coalport, again, pretty easy. Is a good key term, keyword search. So you've got that, and you've got the strawberry, which is technically the pattern. It has strawberries on it, but it's also called strawberry.
I love the strawberries, but I feel like the ladybugs make sense, and maybe the spider, but then you have the random mosquito on the back. What is that there? It's still a lovely piece, though.
Little sewing basket. Not sure on the age on this one. Most of the ones that I get, like these, the jade pieces are a lot bigger. So I'm not sure if this is a reproduction or a more contemporary piece, but it's actually very nicely made. I'm not going to say it's signed, but there are marks on it that match the lid to the base. So it's just a nice little sewing basket. This one I need to look up. It's just a little, like a little platter, little serving tray. But I need to look up the name because it says it's hand painted, but I can't tell. It's like, it says A, and then it looks like ATU and then IRICE. So it's like, and then product. So it's, I don't know if the ATV is supposed to be part of the IRICE or if IRICE is the name of the production company. But it's just, it's a very heavy porcelain piece, just with the little gold accented leaves on the side. But the last thing we're gonna do, so we can get closed down at the hour, I picked up some jewelry for you, Kate. Well, not for you, Katie, but in honor of you, that I thought you might like. So the first one is this kind of cool brooch.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
And what's cool about it is the mesh is flexible. So actually it doesn't expand a lot, but it's like, it's not en tremblant, but it definitely has movement to it. And then it's got the little gold filled rose in the middle. It's got the safety clasp on it. So, I mean, I would say, what would you say arrow wise on that one? I was thinking 50s.
Let me see the back one more time on the clasp. Yeah, I would say 50s or 60s on that with the safety clasp.
Yeah, definitely has a safety clasp, but it's not signed. So there was that. And then Vinny's still here. So this one's in honor of Vinny.
The pen up.
So it actually says, my camera's not good enough to zoom in on that signature. It actually says pinup girl next to it. What I don't know is what she's a pinup for, because it looks like the number 18 is like standing in front of.
Your birthday, your 18th birthday. I don't know.
You turn 18 and you get that?
I mean, it's kind of a, like, you're an adult now type of a thing. I don't know.
I'm like disturbed. Who gives it to you? Your parents? Like, here, have a hooker.
Maybe your friend. I don't know.
So what I thought was cool about this, and even the owner didn't know, it came with this little magnetized piece that turns it into a tie clip or like a pocket clip or whatever. And then this is just a coin.
Oh, that's a ball marker for golf. I had one of those, and my dad plays golf.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
You put those on your hat, and my dad always wore one on his hat. And then you take them off, and you mark your ball when you're
awesome.
on the green.
Okay, because I actually picked up. They had several of those little pieces, but they're all different shapes and stuff. And I'm like, she didn't know what they were for either. And I'm like, well, they stick to pins and buttons. So anyway, so that was kind of cool. But then I also got another brooch.
Oh, 18th hole of golf. Yes.
Oh, right. Because so if you're saying it's a ball marker, that totally makes sense.
Disregard my first comment.
Oh, I'm much more entertained by that. Or we could take it like she's the 19th hole, but that gets really dirty. So we're gonna throw the last another brooch. So this is a silver tone with a little bit of gold in it, kind of as a grape cluster.
Oh, that's stunning.
So that one, I don't think this one was not marked on the back either. It still has a safety clasp. I didn't see signatures on most of these, but this one I had no idea what era that would be.
I think that one's Austrian. Now, I'm no expert, but I have actually been looking at a couple of those on Etsy, and there is one similar to that they were saying it's from the 1900s.
Oh, it doesn't have. It has a safety. It has the
safety. I did research on the safety clasp, and this is why I haven't done a video yet on brooches, because I'm not exactly sure. But when I was reading online, and there was an expert that wrote an incredibly long article on the safety clasp, and they were saying that there actually were safety clasps around in the 1900s on some pieces. Now, I'm not saying that person is the end-all be-all or that's right, but apparently they were invented much earlier than people think. But that's just something I've been reading and kind of confused about myself. So I don't know. You might have something special there, Patrick.
So these were sold with it, but I don't think these are part of the set, because these have a lot more gold in them than silver, where the brooch had a lot more silver than gold. So I don't think this has a faux pearl in it, and this one doesn't. So I don't think these necessarily go together, but that's how they were sold.
But that grape brooch is stunning.
Yeah, so Booked Bewitched is saying something about the metal on the back, so that if that indicates anything. Like I said, it doesn't have a signature on it, and I don't know how to tell, what that is. I didn't find any markings either, so I don't think it's white gold. I don't think it's platinum. I don't think it's anything high end, but it's very smooth.
Oh, and the ones I have seen like that, though, they're all listed, and there's several of them. And again, internet's not always right.
Exactly.
Those as Austrian. Don't know, but and they list them as from the 1800s, or 1900s. So I don't know, but still there's debate apparently online when you start researching the safety clasp.
Gotcha. So these are cufflinks. So I got some cufflinks. Those I showed you. Okay, and so these are marked Paquette, Paquette. It looks like, unless that last one's an A. So I don't know. Do you recognize that name, Paquette?
I don't. I've never seen that mark particularly, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. I don't
know if this is an older name, like an older brand, or makes it more contemporary. Debbie is saying it's French, which totally makes sense. To me, those look like the New England baskets. I can't remember what they're called, but there's a very specific style of basket in New England. So come on, my New Englanders, what is that basket called? So I did not think French, but Paquette totally, now that you say that, Debbie, I would totally say that makes sense. But I was thrown by the basket because I thought the basket was a specific style. But I could be wrong. Maybe the basket's available in French too, or in France too.
They're not clip-on, so I don't.
Nantucket basket. Thank you, Jeannie. So Jean Marie, they're Nantucket basket. So it's a very specific style, and everyone knew that. Okay, now I'm feeling stupid.
I didn't know that. So
okay, you and I are in it together, Katie.
We're in the club.
So the Nantucketers are taking over, but I at least recognized the basket was in the New England area. I got part of it right. But that doesn't mean that a French company didn't make them. But because they're Nantucket baskets, I'm assuming they're just souvenir pieces. Like I can't imagine these are particularly valuable, but I needed to figure out what the name of that basket was, because if I put these on Etsy, that's exactly what I needed, because a Nantucket basket, if somebody collects Nantucket baskets or they're from Nantucket, they're going to be attracted to something like this. So I thought those were very cool.
And they don't have the clip on. So that means they're probably a little newer. I would think.
That's a good point.
I'm not an expert in earrings.
Yeah, I don't know when all that changed, but you're right. They're definitely pierced, and it doesn't look like they were adapted. So.
And Lavish Mango is saying that he thinks that there's a valuable watchmaker with a similar name.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this one I hadn't had a chance. I didn't research any of the jewelry yet. I got it. It was a weird thing about the way pricing was. I think I got a good deal on it, but I don't even know, because it basically got lumped together. So I hope I got a good deal on it, and I need to figure out what that says underneath the paquette, because I don't think these are gold, but I've got a pair of 22 karat gold earrings that I bought Amelia in Thailand, and it's the same finish. So I need to figure out, that just looks like it's a copyright.
Yeah, it looks
I need to make sure these are not marked. And so then the last thing I got, what I thought was just kind of fun, it was the El Cortez Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm going to assume it's like a safe deposit key. I can't imagine that was a room key.
No.
That is very, very small.
It actually looks like a little small key for a suitcase. So
okay. That makes sense, because it's on this little keychain. So like the key doesn't necessarily mean it originated with the keychain. But yeah, if it was a suitcase key, you're right. And so it's the El Cortez. So I have not researched this yet. I don't recognize that. So I don't know if El Cortez is still in existence, or if this is one of the it's on Fremont Street. So it's one of the downtown casinos. I don't know if that still exists.
No.
Because it does say El Cortez, Las Vegas, Nevada. So I don't think it's the same one in San Diego, Christie. But yeah, so I do think that now that you say that, I wouldn't have thought of it, but I remember having a Samsonite luggage that had a key like that. And so I can see that this is the souvenir from visiting Las Vegas, and they put their luggage keys on it. So I just thought that was fun. So again, this will probably be something that I do in a live sale. It's not got a lot of value to it. I won't get it lost on eBay or Etsy. But for my Las Vegas lovers, if it still exists, it makes it less desirable than if it's one of those that no longer is around. So I got to do some digging.
And there's no zip code on it, so it has to be.
That's true. There's no zip code. And Margaret Gwen is saying that she's in Nevada and she hasn't heard the El Cortez in years. So it may be.
Might have something.
Oh, no, but Jen Bootsy is saying, yes, there is still an El Cortez on Fremont. And that's the address that's given, is Fremont Street. But it's clearly old. You know, I can't imagine the El Cortez Hotel Casino is giving out a keychain that looks like this.
Yeah.
So there's still some age to it. So like I said, that I'll probably just put onto a live sale unless somebody buys it, sends me an email and wants it tonight. And that was pretty much everything. Like I said, I got more of the little ball marker things, not knowing what they were. So I just, grabbed them.
Once you pulled that out, I was like, oh, that's what that is. Yeah.
And for some reason, the Hungary vase came on a little Asian stand. So I'll probably put that underneath something else. Maybe the Satsuma looks good on that. There we go. Yeah, perfect. So, and I have two of these. So I can put one with a stand and one without. But yeah, so that was, so like I said, I thought it was some fun stuff. I'm going to try and get these things listed. My goal for the new year is to do at least 2 videos a week. So this is now my 3rd. Well, actually, technically it's 2nd, but I'll have a live sale on Thursday. So that'll be my 3rd. I'm also going to say I'm going to have a video on Tuesday. So I'll have 4 this week. But I'm also doing a goal to put 2 things on Etsy every day. And I know for some of you guys that are power sellers, that's nothing. But for me and, for Vinny, those of us that also then have the full-time job, at one point, I literally got my second one posted at like 11:30 at night. Going, God I need to do it. I need to get something listed. So I need to get photographs of everything. The Huckster helper was here before she was going back to school, so she was taking photographs. I had to redo most of them, but it was, you know, thought that counts. So she was helping me out. And so it's just getting the things organized. So I want to get all this stuff listed quickly. And if I waited and put this video out right now, it would be at least 3 weeks before I do another premiere or have a slot for a new premiere. This stuff will be listed and maybe even sold. So if you guys like it, you know, like I said, don't get used to doing 2 videos in a night. I won't be doing that. I will have another premiere next week. That'll be a shop with me video. I have to decide if it's going to be my Rustic Fox video or the State Street Market Shops, which is a new place for me. I'd never been there before. So one of those 2 videos will be next week. I will have a video on Tuesday. I did a haul video earlier tonight from an estate sale that I mentioned getting a christening certificate from 1897. I'm actually doing like a 5-10 minute video on just that. That'll be posted on Tuesday. I'll have my live sale on Thursday. So I'm going to try and get into a struggle or into a structure. It is a struggle, but I'm going to try and get into a structure of trying to get more of the content out. Katie blows me away. She's doing like hours of stuff at a time. She just hit 1,000 followers. So yay to Katie.
Thank you.
But definitely, yeah, Angela, I actually visited State Street on my way dropping off your shipment. So Angela gets door-to-door service, and I'd never been to State Street. So I was visiting her, and I'd never been to State Street. So on my way to see Angela, I stopped at State Street. So I got a really good set of video there. Another set of videos from Rustic Fox. I'm just going to try and figure out what works, what people like, and see what happens. So I appreciate you guys joining. It ran a little bit longer than I'd planned, so thanks for those of you who stuck around. Thanks for the research you guys were doing. I just saw something and then it went away. Greg said he just Googled something, and now I can't find where Greg's. Do you see what Katie? Do you see what he said?
I'm looking for it. I saw that someone had looked up that hotel, and it's still there.
Okay, maybe that's what Greg was saying. So
I think that was Lavish Mango. Let's see. I don't see anything from Greg. But Lavish Mango, I believe I just was saying that hotel was still there on the Vegas.
Awesome. And Jen Bootsy had said that as well. So, okay. So that's good to know. So I appreciate when you guys can help me out with some of that stuff. The Nantucket basket, totally appreciate that because that'll help me sell. So it's one of those cases. If you saw anything you liked tonight, I'm going to still try and do some research, but if you see something, it's something you collect. I really want to make my followers and my viewers happy. So if we can make a good deal, like just tell me what you want to pay and I will tell you, yes, I think I can do that. Or you know what, better not. You know, so if you see anything, but it is first come, first served. I had some industrial antique doorknobs in my last video. And all of the emails were hitting me all at the same time. I literally had to go in order for how they were received because I ran out. So see anything, send me an email. But appreciate you hanging out. And so Tuesday will be another video. That won't be a premiere. The Tuesday videos, I will not be able to do premieres. Those will just be like, they'll just go live. But I will be back on Thursday for a live sale. At this point, I'm still doing, this month is all solo sales, making up for not doing some of the sales in December. But it's probably starting in February, I'll start doing the group sales again. So I'm going to do some group sales with traditional resellers like Katie. Vinny's invited to be a part of it. Basically, all the people who donated their mystery boxes for the fundraiser, for Dawn's fundraiser for Just One More Dachshund. Everyone who donated a fundraiser or donated for that fundraiser got a slot in my live sale. So I need to start structuring those. And I'm also starting to do group sales with the other vendors at the Rustic Fox. So instead of doing it at the store, we may be doing some of our own. So watch for some different things coming up probably in February. But Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to keep that as my main time, 8 p.m. Eastern on Sundays and Thursdays. Sundays will be either like premieres like I did earlier tonight, or that's when I be doing my deep dives. I've already told Katie to start planning out her next deep dive because she's been a fan favorite. So anyway, appreciate everyone joining. Appreciate Katie being my little sidekick and giving me the background that she had on the tins and everything. And appreciate all you guys joining. So thanks for coming out tonight. Thanks for putting your trust in Trusty Huckster. Have a great night.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.